Hi, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And welcome to Forgotten Cinema Lead Up. Each episode, we highlight a film from a popular series and follow it all the way up to its most recent release. And we'll discuss what we love about the movie or perhaps don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it, even the not so good ones, which is not this film. So let's get into it. Mike, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. As you know, my mother was brutally, horribly murdered last year. It's been a rough year for me. But luckily, my boyfriend Skeet.
That's not Billy.
No, he's Skeet.
Okay. You did give it up to him, so
he's always there for me. Only after he begged a lot, and I was kind of peer pressured into it. Yeah, I am. But I didn't show boobs, so I didn't die. Anyway, so people are dying all around me, my friends, because they can't answer simple horror movie trivia. They must not have watched Forgotten Horror season 1 through 7. Otherwise, they might have survived. But I've been surviving this whole time, and then all of a sudden
thriving.
I go to this house party and Skeet and his buddy are chopping up my friends, but you know what? I get the upper hand because they talk too much. And with some meta commentary, I help create one of the most successful, longest running horror movie franchises of the 90s and 2000s.
You sound like you're taking a dig at this film. We are doing the original. We're doing Scream because we are leading up all the Scream movies until Scream 7, which comes out, I forgot, end of February.
February, yeah.
So, as we're recording this, the teaser, like a really quick teaser, just was released, so that was pretty good. But anyway, so we are leading all the way up from going Scream, Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, Scream. But it's Scream 5 and then Scream 6.
Well, if you look at the logo of Scream 5, the M is
Scream 5. I don't know why it's called Scream 5. It's fine. But anyways, that's what we're doing. So let's get into this film. Our lead-ups are a little bit like our regular show where we kind of go through some facts and whatnot. And then we kind of we just kind of do it the same way. So let's get into it right now. Scream has a runtime of 111 minutes. It's rated R, production budget of $14 million. It came out on Friday, December 20th, 1996, a Christmas release or holiday release, if you will. Its opening weekend at $6.4 million. Its total domestic take was $103 million. Its international take was $70 million for a worldwide total of $173 million. So this film did not. This film did not get started right out of the gate. I think the note I have that it was in theaters for like 8 months, which back in 1996, that makes sense. If this was today, it probably wouldn't even be in theaters for a month because it would go straight to digital. But that's the world we're living in right now. So let's not be old men and complain. That's how it is. This production company was Dimension Films and Woods Entertainment, and it was distributed by Dimension Films as well, which at this point was a subsidiary of Miramax, for those who know. All right. So I said it came out on the 20th. Let's go back. We got a lot of dates here because it's the holiday season. So you know how movies like to just come out all over the place. Let's go back a week to the 13th, which you have a Friday. You had a wide release of Jerry Maguire. Very good film. Mars Attacks.
Show me the money.
The Preacher's Wife, and the limited release of Citizen Ruth. That's for you Alexander Payne fans out there and Laura Dern fans. The in between, the 18th of December, which is the Wednesday, you had a limited release of In Love and War, which is a Sandra Bullock film. The 20th, when this film came out, it went up against in a wide release, Beavis and Butthead 2 America, Butler fave. One Fine Day, My Fellow Americans, and limited releases of Ghosts of Mississippi, Marvin's Room, and The Whole Wide World. December 24th, Christmas Eve, you had a limited release of I'm Not Rappaport. Christmas Day, you had a wide release of Michael, which is the what's his name? John Travolta movie, and a limited release of Evita. And then the 27th of December, you had wide release of The Evening Star, which is with Shirley MacLaine. And you had limited releases of The People versus Larry Flint, The Portrait of a Lady, Mother, Hamlet, and Some Mother's Son. So, so quite the list of films coming out around this time, which if you're paying attention, there's not another horror film right there. It's just Scream. So it's probably pretty smart that they put it was good, obviously, number one, and it was a solid film, but also that it came out when there was no really other competition for a horror film, which is good. So good job. This film is directed by Wes Craven. For those of you who watched, who are part of our Patreon, all two of you, you know that we did an Nightmare on Elm Street. He's also directed The Hills Have Eyes, Cursed, Vampire in Brooklyn, and the upcoming ones that we'll do, Screams 2 through 4.
And he did New Nightmare, which you can watch on our Forgotten Horror series.
There you go. Written by Kevin Williamson, who's actually directing Scream 7. He wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Faculty, and like I just said, Scream 2, and then Scream 7. Mark Irwin was a cinematographer for all the way up until the last 3 weeks of the film. He's done Old School, RoboCop 2, and There's Something About Mary. Did you see that note?
I did not see that note.
So we'll get right to a note right away, right into the notes right away. So he was fired about 2 or 3 weeks or a week before the end of the shoot because they were looking at footage of all the stuff they had shot. And I guess they had a focus puller that was working that was not doing his job well. And they had shots that were out of focus. They had shots that had lens flares everywhere. So they basically said, we need to reshoot this stuff and you need to fire this guy. You need to fire him and a bunch of other people. And he was like, no, right. He's like, you'll have to fire me. So they fired him. So then Peter Deming came on and he came on and he finished it. And I think he actually did Scream 2, Scream 3 as well, but he's done Evil Dead 2, The Lost Highway and The Menu. Lost Highway, not The Lost Highway, and The Menu. So just a little factoid there, but obviously, with union rules and whatnot, you still get that credit if you've worked on it probably a certain amount of time or if it's in the contract. So that's why Mark Irwin is listed as a cinematographer, but he did not finish what he started. That doesn't mean he's a bad cinematographer, everybody. It just means that in this project, stuff happened. So
he stood up for people that,
sure, absolutely. Yeah. Which any good leader, cinematographer who is obviously the leader of the crew a little bit would do. I know my buddy would do that. So, composer was Marco Beltrami, who's nominated for 2 Oscars, one for The Hurt Locker and the other for 3:10 to Yuma.
A movie we did.
Point to the screen. There you go. And then edited by Patrick Lussier, who's done New Nightmare, which as Mike said, we did. Mimic. And Halloween H2O 20 years later. I guess that they must have added that because I don't remember that being in the original title.
Yeah, me neither.
And Lussier has done, he's actually a director now too. He's directed a bunch of other stuff. Let's see. Neve Campbell is our lead, of course, for those big Scream fans. I assume everyone has seen this movie that's listening to this podcast right now. I hope so. If you haven't, you should go watch them. But Neve Campbell plays Sydney from Wild Things. She's also in the TV shows House of Cards and more recently, The Lincoln Lawyer. Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers, obviously from Friends, TV show Cougar Town, which I was trying to get Butler to watch the other day. David Arquette as Deputy Dewey from 8-Legged Freaks and Never Been Kissed, amongst other things. Skeet Ulrich as Billy Loomis, that's his name, Butler. From The Craft, TV shows Riverdale and Jericho. Matthew Lillard as Stuart or Stumacher or Stu from the Scooby-Doo series, for those who know, The Descendants and Five Nights at Freddy's. I believe he's in the second one as well. Rose McGowan as Tatum. She's from Planet Terror, Jawbreaker, and the TV show Charm. She came on and replaced Shannon Doherty, I think, after season 2. I don't know why I know that, but I do. Jamie Kennedy as Randy from Son of Mask, Romeo and Juliet, and Malibu's Most Wanted. And then, obviously, these other people you probably remember from other stuff. Like, obviously, Drew Barrymore's in the opening, so she's there. Roger Jackson plays the voice of Ghostface on the phone. I'm pretty sure he's in all the films. He's Mike. Do you know that he is a credit for the pedestrian population for Red Dead Redemption 2? Like he does all those voices.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
that's awesome.
I got that little. Yeah. Joseph Whipp as Sheriff Burke, obviously Deputy Dewey's boss. If he looks familiar, he's in A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think Kevin Williamson had the note where he says that the inside joke is that he left the town. He left where Elm Street took place to go to a quiet town, and this is the town he goes to because he's an officer there. So I thought that was interesting. W. Earl Brown, who's the camera guy. I always like to pip Deadwood because I love that show, so he's in that. Henry Winkler's in there real quick, but a little bit. Liev Schreiber obviously is Cotton Weary, which he kind of carries over into the rest of the filmography, which I'm sure we'll talk about when we get in there. He's at a bunch of things, but TV show Ray Donovan, if he looks familiar to you. All right, so there's no real mystery here. I'm a big fan of this film. Is it perfect? No, but is any film? But there's a lot of stuff I like in this movie. I remember when this film came out, I watched it obviously in theaters and it was great. It was a great experience. Everyone I talked to when we talk about this movie loves Scream. And we'll get into the other ones in the other episodes, but I never, there's very few things in all of the Scream films that I don't like. So I'm a big fan of this film. Mike, I think we've talked about it. I don't really think we've gone in depth like we're going to do tonight, but I guess
Number one, do you like it? Did you like it? Did your watching it now? Did it reinforce, what your thoughts are on this film? Like, did you come away with anything different upon this? I'm assuming is double digit rewatch for you.
This is yours. This is probably like my third time watching it.
Really? Okay.
I'm not the Scream guy you are. When I originally saw it, I wasn't that into Scream. I was far more into the Jason movies, Freddy, Michael Myers. I was way more into them. And I think my issue is I wasn't.
Hold up real quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You saw this after. You didn't see it when it came out. You saw it later.
Oh, no,
right?
no. I saw it later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was it.
So I think I just didn't. I wasn't, even though I had seen those other ones first. And then I kind of saw Scream. I wasn't old enough to, I think, to appreciate the meta-ness of it all. Mm-hmm. And so on this watch, I got the meta-ness a little bit more. I still don't think I regard it as highly as you because some of the characters really do just kind of piss me off to the point where I'm just like, all right. But I do really like it. I liked it a lot more this watch because I think you have to have that appreciation and knowledge of horror films to really like Scream. Otherwise, it just comes off as like, all right. And I think that the reason I brought up to mention that Wes Craven did New Nightmare is because while I was watching this, I was thinking that this film is like the perfect representation of what he wanted to do with New Nightmare, but he wasn't able to do. Like New Nightmare is almost too much of a wink and a nod, and he wanted to put in too much stuff. And this is the perfect both love letter to his films and horror in general, and meta in a way that I think isn't just beating you over the head, and where the meta, the more you know about horror films, the more you as the viewer are going to get into it, and you as the survivor are going to get further into the film. And I think this is like a much better version of what New Nightmare was trying to be. That being said, like I said, it's like not perfect, but I like it a lot more this watch. And I think one of the other things I really liked about it is it's got that Dimensions film look, but you can tell it's the first one, and every other Dimension film that came after is like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. Whereas this, I think, is the best example, obviously, because it's like the first Dimension film that everybody like kind of, when you say Dimension film, it's what it is. This is the best example of that, where it's like, no, but it looks good when it's like this, like really good, and not just like, oh, it's a Dimension film.
Well, you could, I mean, obviously this film 96. I mean, this kicked off. It's credited with kicking off a new subgenre of the horror genre. I mean, the note I have in here is how the Scream rekindled the interest in the horror genre in the 90s, but also, I guess, because it was a decline of the popularity, and that also it's credited with shifting the genre towards younger audiences, and then having established actors in other roles. I don't know so much about that, because a lot of horror films from the 80s had younger actors in there. What's changed is that you had the proliferation of 90s television, where you had these actors that were stars on their shows. I mean, Neve Campbell's coming from Party of Five. These are up and coming actors. They're not just throwaway people in like a Jason film that are there to, to take off their tops and get killed. Like they're actually actors that you have seen and worked and are working actors, and are like, not that the other people were working, but you know what I'm saying? Like they're known already. So I think, I think maybe just paying more attention to the younger actors and the younger characters, and giving them more to do than just be fodder for whatever killer's out there, I think is probably where Scream should get its credit. But then you have, like, I Know What You Did Last Summer the next year. You have Urban Legend that comes out. You have Cherry Falls. You have all these films that come out. And I know I'm not saying all of them, that are direct correlation with Scream's success in 1996. And obviously,
I don't know what Cherry Falls is.
You don't know what Cherry Falls is?
No.
Cherry Falls is with Brittany Murphy, and it's about a kid. Jay Moore's in it as well. It's about a killer who's killing all these kids in town who are virgins. And to solve this problem, they have a huge party where everyone's going to have sex and lose their virginity. So that's the movie. Basically, at the end of the movie, the killer's going through, obviously Brittany Murphy's our lead, so she's a virgin. And so like the killer's trying to get to her, and she's trying to have sex before the killer gets to her. It's definitely like, it feels very indie. and it feels very like not as polished as you talked about the Dimension film stuff, like not as polished, but
right.
It's good. It's got some funny stuff in there. I would recommend it.
I do like Jay Moore.
Yeah. Elise might enjoy it. Yeah. You and Elise might enjoy that. But anyways, back to Scream. So I'm curious. I don't want to sit here and go like, why don't you like this? And then we'd kind of, I'll attack you for liking different things that, I mean, I know that's fun when we do that, but we could definitely get into like what your shortcomings for the film is. And then I can obviously provide some kind of contrarian belief to there, to that aspect. But I guess when I watched it, when it came out in '96, it was a fun time in the theater. It was enjoyable. Yeah, it was scary, but it was one of the first times where you saw a killer actually getting thwarted a lot of times. Like he gets messed up.
That's probably my favorite part of the film is that he's not perfect, and I think that's great.
He's not the Shape. He's not just, he's not showing up and he's unstoppable. You can stop him. He's not like Jason where he's like this hulking figure. You can slam doors into him. You can trip him up. He can miss with the knife and like trip over himself. So all that stuff is good. And I think it allows for a lot of interesting scenes within the movie. Like when he's passed out, when the killer's passed out and she's right there and like she's trying to move without it, that stuff. So I think that's all well and good. Give me something maybe that even though if your second watch, even though you liked it now, you still just can't give it a pass. Maybe like, you're just like, no, I'm sorry. It's just, no, I can't like this.
It's on it. It's Skeet. It's Billy. Billy is so clearly the villain the entire way through the movie. And I guess the big reveal is like, oh, he had a partner in Stu, which isn't all that surprising either. He plays it so it's just not good. I just can't see the meta-ness. I can't see the cheese factor. It just seems like an actor poorly reading lines, and no offense to Skeet, I don't think anyone could really play that part and not seem like the bad guy the entire way through. I just don't think they ever do a good job of, the killer, those calls weren't actually from his phone. Sure. But I don't think that's a big enough misdirect. And he just plays it as like, why would Sidney be with this kid other than like he's good looking? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I think that's the biggest part during this watch. I'm just like, come on. And honestly, it's probably 90% of what I don't like about this film.
You don't like the way Billy Loomis is portrayed.
Yeah, I really don't like Billy Loomis, although Loomis is probably a nod to Halloween, which I like, which I'm just getting now.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just getting it right now.
30
years later. But yeah, I think Billy was my main problem back then too. And I just didn't get the meta-ness, so it was meh in general. But I think now I like a lot of it. It's really just Billy. I like Dewey. I like Courtney Cox. I like Neve Campbell. I like I really like Stu. I know he gets on some people's nerves when they watch the film, but yeah. Well, not Matthew Lillard in general. Well, obviously gets on Quentin Tarantino's nerves, but I think Stu, a lot of people think he's like a little too ridiculous, but I really like Stu. I think his cartooniness kind of works. It's just that I think it's Billy. I think Billy just kind of holds the movie back for me, which I'll be interested because I also haven't seen Scream. I only saw Scream 2 once and I haven't watched, I think I told you already, I never watched the other one. So as we get away from,
oh, really?
Yeah. As we get away from Billy Loomis, I'll be interested to see if I like 2, 3 more. I don't think I'm gonna like 4, but we'll see.
What? Really? No, I
haven't heard the greatest things, but
which one? Telling 3? Me that Scream 4 is not good. Scream 4 is good. Scream 4 completely changes it. Scream 4 is good. No, when it no longer Scream 6 is the issue for me, and then Scream 3 you won't like. I don't think you'll like Scream 3, but regardless of that, does this affect your opinion of Skeet? And of Billy Loomis is that he didn't realize this movie was supposed to be a comedy a little bit. He thought this was all serious until they shot the first scene of on the first day, and he was like, "Oh wait, and so he was studying and training for this entire movie, like it was a serious film. He was watching Faces of Death as he's learning his lines, which is if for those who know what Faces of Death is, that's a nonfiction film, and those aren't fun to watch. Does that affect your opinion?
Not really, because when I saw that, it's like that's great and all, but he did realize on the first day of shooting, so you have to pivot. You have to pivot as an actor, and he just kept playing it like that, like dead serious. It's a really hardcore horror film, and it just even then, he shouldn't have played it to give away his character right off the bat. That's not. You should always think, especially when you have a group of friends where, no matter what, you should have always thought it was within that group of friends, obviously, because it's always going to be a character, but you should still be guessing up until the end. And in this, it's like, it's Billy. It's Billy.
Well, they try, like you said, they try to give you the read misdirect with the phone call and stuff like that when he's in jail. But also, I don't know what way Skeeto would play Billy Loomis any other way than he did, because if you kind of lighten him up, then he's just another carbon copy of Stu. And then you have two of the same kind of people. So it's a little, and maybe that's just, he just gets the short end of the stick in terms of like how Billy's supposed to be. But because you have to have that difference. And he is like that James Cagney type character. He's like that, he's supposed to be, I'm telling you what he's supposed to be, not what he is. He's supposed to be that like mysterious, like, the sexy guy. And he's something, there's maybe a little dark about him, but you don't want to believe that because our heroine, Sydney, loves him and she has sex with him and she, you know what I mean? So you want to side with who she is siding with. So I think that's part of that.
Maybe if he cared for her more or pretended to care for her more, but it's just like he never really cared for her. He wants to get her pants.
He was really mad at her mother because her mother broke up his marriage, his parents.
Obviously, you got to do what you got to do. Listen, I'm not questioning Billy's motives here.
Well, maybe we're seeing what Sydney wants to see is the goodness in Billy, and obviously he proves her wrong there at the towards the end there. But you pretty much liked all the other characters. You thought that they were, so you're saying that 90% is Billy Loomis, which. I mean, I'm obviously not there with you, but I get it.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me pivot to a question to you. So you say this movie's not perfect. What keeps this movie being perfect for you? Because I think, and I don't know this for a fact because I was going to ask it. Well, I'll ask it now as well. Is this your favorite horror movie? And what keeps it from being perfect? You really talk about Scream a lot.
I do if you're, I could safely say that it would be in my top 10. And now let me reference that I have not seen every single. I like horror movies. I'm not a huge horror fanatic, so I have not seen everything.
Right.
So I'm putting in those classics. I'm putting in like Halloween there. I'm putting in Scream. Obviously, I'm going to put in.
Oh, sure.
So like that's where I'm going with a lot of horror stuff. But where I don't think it's perfect is. I'm trying to figure out. Maybe I do think because nothing's ever perfect. I don't know. There's like the scene when she is in the bathroom and the killer's there. But it's not the killer. It's supposed to be a kid. It's supposed to be a bunch of kids who are just pranking her, and that whole scene was supposed to lead to a cut scene where she runs to the principal, and that's why the principal closes school because of that moment in the bathroom. And in the movie, it just feels like we just need another scare, so let's put her here. So let's have this happen. There's another moment where the killer goes after Sydney in the beginning. So I've always wondered this. In the beginning of the film, they kill Casey and I'm blanking on the boyfriends. They kill the two, Steve and Casey. And then they go after Sydney. And I'm like, so was the intent to always just go right after Sydney and that was it? We weren't going to go on this killing spree. What was and they never tell you the plan, and maybe they shouldn't tell me the plan, and that's fine. I don't need to know it. It's good that it's just kismet that it ends at the house and they can kill a bunch of people. That's great. But I just always wonder, okay, so why are we going right after Sydney, the first one? And then why are we going after her again just to get her scared so that Billy shows up? I don't understand.
I just don't understand like why that's happening, but I don't care. I mean, that's a nitpick. So I don't care because I think the movie's a solid film. I like how they ended. I like how it sets it up. I thought that was interesting that they actually were going to kill Dewey and they shot the ending with Dewey alive just in case Wes changed his mind, which he obviously did. Cause I think, I don't know if test audiences wanted it or something. They just kind of changed their mind because they wanted to keep him alive. Obviously, which was smart because he became, he's now
one Deputy of the major Dewey staples. Yeah.
Yeah. If I say Deputy Dewey to somebody and they know movies, they know what I'm talking about.
Well, I think they did a really good job with making him slightly inept, but also very likable. Like turning that kind of trope on its head. It's like usually the inept cop is like, no one likes him. And Dewey is very, very like, you kind of rooting for Dewey. Dewey, kind of get your shit together. You can do this. I think they do a good job with that.
Yeah. And he kind of carries that over throughout the rest of the series and but he's still capable. He still gets a little bit more serious and, obviously I won't say better at his job, but he just gets more capable at his job. And you really believe that he's a good cop and whatnot. So no, I honestly, Mike, it's got a great opening. That opening's a fantastic opening.
It's classic.
Yeah. It's just, it feels like when you read the notes about how they put the movie together and how everything came together, it feels like not that they looked into how good this movie is, but it was, you had a lot of talented people behind the camera, even so talented enough that they could keep Bob Weinstein from messing it up because he wasn't a big fan of the rough cut when he first saw it. And they were like, hold up. And they cut it together and they showed it. He didn't like the mask. And when they showed them the scene, he was like, okay, don't listen to me anymore. Go do what you need to do. So, which was
That's
good.
Good note.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they found Marco Beltrami, the composer, on a chat board when the assistant to Wes Craven's just like, we need somebody who wants to do a movie, who wants to score a film. That's how they found him, which is ridiculous. And like, that just launches his career, which is fantastic.
I said it before. I'll say it again. I know people don't like Terminator 3, but his score for Terminator 3 is one of my favorite all-time scores. It is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy that's how they found him. Like, you never know. Like, that's like another composer I know we both like, Michael Giacchino. Mm-hmm. He was just scoring video games. And then J.J. Abrams was playing Medal of Honor, I think is the story. And he was like, oh, who's this guy? I want this guy. Like, it's just like sometimes you get found like that.
Did he tell him about his, his box theory? Did he tell him about the, what is it? What does he call it? The puzzle box or whatever it is? What is the J.J. Abrams writing philosophy?
Oh, the Simpsons did the whole episode about it.
Yeah. I can't remember. It's been so long ago. Like 10 years.
I would wonder if he even had that theory yet at that time, or if it came like afterward. Because there's a difference between early JJ and like later JJ. Not that I don't like JJ Abrams, but like he became more Spielbergian kind of. I feel like that was kind of his thing.
He started making films like other films. Like that, that's all. That's Super 8. Super 8 is just him trying to be Spielberg, which is fine, but that's like stuff you do earlier in their career, not when you like imitations of. But like when everyone starts out making content, they always imitate the people they like, but that's how they learn. Then when you get established, you have your style. Go make it.
I think that's why Quentin Tarantino's early films are great. But they're very much like complete ripoffs of other films. Oh. Whereas Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Inglourious Bastards, like his later stuff is like, okay, that's still kind of that style, but really his own thing. He
still takes from Asian cinema big time.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But yeah, no, his writing has gotten more in depth and a lot of subtext, and he's gotten very confident as a director and a writer. Now we're on this tangent again about Tarantino. But I like Super 8. It does kind of falter a little bit, but I like Super 8, so I'm a fan. If go watch our episode that we did on the main show. I couldn't even tell you what season.
It was filmed, so it wasn't too long ago.
It was one of our first or second seasons coming back, I believe. Yeah. So let me give you a quote from Williamson here about the movie. I thought if this is Kevin Williamson, I thought if you could expose the rules and play with them, then the audience doesn't know what they're going to get. Suddenly they're on edge. I started playing with the tropes and the rules were part of it. So Kevin Williamson wrote this film after house sitting for somebody and he got scared. He thought that someone was outside or whatever. And then he came up with the idea and
depending upon what you read, he either wrote it in 48 hours or he wrote it in a week. But he wrote this film and he wrote the treatment, a 5-page treatment for Scream 2 that he put at the end of the script.
I did read that and I totally forgot. So that's why Liev Schreiber's character is kind of set up. Like he's kind of in there, but he's kind of thrown away because it's like, okay, but he might come back.
Well, Liev Schreiber in 1996 is an independent film actor. Like he's in like the Day Trippers around this time.
But he's still in
not
stuff.
established. Right.
It's still weird to have him in there with no lines and just an establishing shot.
Yeah, maybe
that was my thing. Was there plans for him?
Who knows? I mean, maybe they shot that because that's just footage they shot. That's like it's news footage of him, right? And
it's just him getting escorted into the prison from a van.
So maybe at some point while they were doing this and they're in post for Scream, they were like, we're going to do a Scream 2. Let's get somebody here that we want for Scream 2. Maybe they shot it. So maybe to that point. Yeah. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. I mean, when you have a good idea, you just want to get it out. So I thought that was really cool. And I like that quote. He also has, I'm sorry, I meant to skip to, Neve Campbell. She also has a quote. She talks about Sydney because she didn't necessarily want to do this movie. And then she kind of, I don't want to get talked into it, but then decided to do it. But then she's never really gone to any other horror films. She's just stayed with the Scream series. And she talked about Sydney. She says what attracted her to the role of Sydney was, quote, a fantastic character for any kind of movie who transitions from tormented, traumatized, insecure young woman to overwhelmingly empowered and strong, which yes, that happens in this film, but it also happens throughout the series. And you kind of get a little bit more into Scream 2 is a little bit more her still dealing with stuff in Scream. And then obviously this new situation. And then Scream 3 is where you see like she has completely pulled herself away from the world and she's dragged back in as stuff's happening. So she tries to avoid it. And then in Scream 3, she's going to accept it and take it head on kind of thing. So what they're talking about in this film is correct, but you can also take that quote and relate it to Screams 1 through 3, which I think is interesting as well. Yeah. Give me something else, Mike. Come on. What else do you like?
I really like, the fact that the Ghostface outfit isn't like some custom made crazy horror thing. Jason's kind of the same. He just found a hockey mask before he had a bag over his head. But like, even without that, he's this grotesque monster. Freddy obviously has his burnt face. Anybody could be Ghostface. And I think that's a great idea. It's like, and also a great marketing idea for merchandise. It's just like, hey, Ghostface is a Halloween costume. Literally all you have to do is get a voice thing and a ghost costume. And they even talk about it in the in the news report that's flying off the shelves because it's a super popular Halloween costume now. And then they call him Ghostface toward the end. And it's just like, I like the fact that it's something really easy to pick up. It's one of, I don't know if you ever read the James Cameron Spider-Man movie where he leaked the script.
No.
It's actually a really interesting read. It's very different. But one of the things I like about it is in that script, Peter Parker makes his own Spider-Man costume and it sucks. And he becomes popular in New York and a Spider-Man costume is on every shelf in Halloween. And when he fights a bad guy and gets ripped up, he buys the Halloween costume and gets mad that it's better than his own costume. Nice. That's like the classic comic book one. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on in Scream with Ghostface. I really like that it's a basic, anyone can be Ghostface because everybody's buying this costume kind of idea. I think that's really cool.
And I think that also lends to why I enjoy Scream, why a lot of people enjoy Scream, because it's not just a slasher film. It's also who done it. It's also like who is responsible for this. And you're trying to figure it out. Like,
Billy ain't coming back.
No, but that's another thing too. So that's another added element to this film is you're there watching a slasher flick, but you're also trying to figure out, you're watching a whodunit. You're trying to figure out who was actually the killer. So I think that kind of keeps people interested and whatnot, and probably keeps me interested in throughout the series because I'm always trying to, who is it this time? It's always not like, and they play with that trope later on. And that kind of, it's always somebody in your group, stuff like that. They kind of do that in Scream 5. Yeah, Scream 5. They talk about that where they're like, it's always somebody. It's probably one of your friends here, which I think is interesting. So, which you'll get to. Did you see the note that Wes Craven would tell real life stories of animal cruelty to Drew Barrymore to make her cry during their scenes? Yes. Did you see that?
Yeah. Poor Drew Barrymore, man. She didn't need that. She's had enough going on in her life.
And she would, I guess she had come to the set and told him about, she read this story about a owner who was like burning his dog. So before they would start like burn with a lighter, like burning the animal. So like before they would start shooting, Craven would be like, okay, Drew, lighting the lighter. Here we go. And like, I'm like, oh my God.
And it works. So that scene is great. That whole scene is just so intense. And like he's chasing her, and then at the end, like you think she's going to get away, and then she's dragged away while her parents are hearing. It sets the tone for the movie really, really well. And the fact that what you think is going to be a girl that's going to survive because it's Drew Barrymore gets axed is just genius. It's like awesome.
It's the Psycho part where you thought Janet Leigh was the lead, and then she gets killed. Yep. Yeah. For those who haven't seen Psycho, it's like a 70-year-old movie.
What?
Come on. I can't, it's spoiled. I apologize. Janet Leigh dies. So one of the notes on, I don't know if it's on Wikipedia or IMDb Pro, was going through each killing and whether Billy or Stu was actually killing the people, like the person in that scene. And like this thing turned into like, I had to be like 500 words that I'm reading. And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore.
That's gotta be Wikipedia.
But the one thing that I noticed was that the Casey killing in the beginning, like that third question when he's like, what door am I at? She would have gotten that wrong regardless, because if she went to the front, it would have been right. So I thought that was interesting as well. Like, just kind of like, okay, so like she would never have won.
One of the things that I was trying to figure out that I liked was like, obviously Billy's a lot shorter than, Skeet's a lot shorter than Matthew Lillard. So I was trying to figure out, all right, where's Ghostface a little taller or not? I think Stu kills his girlfriend, obviously. I can't remember what Rose McGowan's character's name was.
See, now that's one Tatum. That's one where there's people that think it's Billy and people that think it's Stu. Yes. So there's one there that they don't know, but okay, yeah, I'm sure it's either one.
I'm at the Stu level because I definitely believe the theory, which I think has been confirmed, that Stu is in love with Billy. And I think that I think it makes sense that Stu would want to kill his own girlfriend in order to kind of get in Billy's graces and to prove that, hey, listen, I got rid of my baggage. Now we can kind of be together, killing people forever.
I know that that's a theory, and I think that's
probably because Kevin Williamson obviously is gay, and I think he's open about that, obviously. I have a quote from a 2022 interview with him where he talks about how he was very hesitant to present the gay side of himself in Scream. And that any queerness that is in Billy's and Stu's characters was a little coded and maybe accidental. So I think it's in there just because you write what you know and you feel and what you're thinking. So I what you're saying makes sense. I just think it's probably just more like just Williamson put it in there because that's who Kevin is, and he's just gonna kind of put himself in all the scripts, which we all do. So, but yeah, no, I think it have to be really overt, for it to like. You know what I mean? They have to just start making out like, but that's my one thing. But that's my one big issue. Did you ever see the movie Elephant? The Gus Van Sant film about that school shooting.
Yeah.
The one thing I don't like about that film is they have the two kids that they start kissing. For those who haven't seen Elephant, it's about two kids that go on a shooting spree. It's basically Columbine. And it's only told from the back of their heads and the back of everybody else's heads, like victims, people that escape and stuff like that. It's a good film. It's a really good film. It's a tough film to watch, but it's a really good film.
It's not an easy film.
No, it's not. Not at all. But it's an important film. It should be a film you watch, especially like, that was a time when, and then that was like the first
started gaining notoriety in terms of like, there's, school shootings and whatnot, but regardless of that. But there was a scene where the two kids like try to kiss each other before it was the morning of the shooting or whatever like that. And they're just kind of like, oh no. And I'm like, well, what are we trying to say here? Like why put that in there? Like, I don't understand why it just seemed out of place. Like, if you're going to do that, then just give me more. Just don't toss it in there. And like, it's something that we have to figure out. And I wasn't a big fan of it, but
that's why I like that Stu's and Billy's is maybe more subtle, because obviously you don't want to be at like we talked in one of our more recent episodes, which actually will come out way after this episode, for Soap Dish, about like the transphobia of one character, like how that's like back then. And I feel like if you just make them gay, you're just saying, you got to watch out for those gays in like the mid 90s. And it's just like, but Stu being like, the odds of two psychopaths becoming best friend and murdering each other, murdering with each other like that is so like, I mean, obviously it's an unbelievable movie a little bit, but like if Stu was kind of, man, I'm just killing because I really want to, I'm so into Billy, like he can do no wrong. That makes a little more sense. Yeah. And then obviously he realizes he does wrong, because when Sydney calls the cops, Stu's got the great line of, oh man, my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. Like he's clearly like, he knows what he did is wrong because he's going to get in trouble. So that's why I think that theory holds a little water. Even if maybe it doesn't. That's why I kind of buy into it a little.
Well, most of Matthew Lillard's lines were ad-libbed. So, I mean, that's stuff that he just said, and that was one of them. So, like, he had a lot of ad-libs. So, like, I don't know.
Like, don't throw the fucking phone at me.
Yeah.
That's just like my favorite moment, because I know that was ad-libbed.
Oh, yeah, he didn't mean to hit him and stuff like that. All that stuff was just happy accidents. Absolutely. I want to give you it's not a quote. It's an opinion. It's an opinion of some stuff for some themes around Scream. I don't know if I agree with this. I want to see what you think. Author Padraic Moroney wrote that Scream was pro-feminism, depicting several final girls who fight the killer instead of submitting. Success of Scream demonstrated to studios that although typically seen as fair for young males, horror films had an untapped female market. Do you think that's untapped? Like they just didn't know? Untapped, or like they never, you know what I mean? Like, so what are you saying that females didn't like these movies back in the 70s and 80s, or just studios were stupid enough to not to know that they?
The people that go to horror movies are couples. It's men and women.
Yes,
it's both, and the that is so insulting to Sigourney Weaver. It's so insulting to Jamie Lee Curtis and all the final girls that came before them. They all win at the end. None of them just give up. They all beat the bad guy. It's why I've said before that I like Evil Dead, because Evil Dead's one of the few films where there is a male character hero. Not that I'm saying but I like that that's different.
Sure.
Like, you're not giving credit to a ton of other that's like Jennifer Lawrence was the first female action hero. And we were like, are you shitting on Linda Hamilton and Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah.
And Carrie Fisher. It's like, just like, the final girls that came before are also strong. So yeah, I don't buy that at all. I like that it's got two, that Courtney Cox as well kind of stands up, and she is not the trope that you see in all these movies with that reporter that just makes everything worse than it already is and doesn't have any kind of redeeming qualities. But yeah, while I think it's got strong female characters, I think that misses the mark and insults what came before.
Well, and also, like, to your point about Courtney Cox or Gail Weathers and Sydney, like, it's organic to the story. You want Sydney's is being terrified for an hour and 20 minutes of the film. You want her to fight back. You want her to defend herself. And the same thing with Gail Weathers. Like, you want her to, because her and Sydney are at odds in the beginning of the film. They don't like each other, and then they start to get to like each other, and then they fight together to defeat the bad guy. Like, that's what you want. So it's not shoved in there. It's organic to the story. And what's fascinating, and people can go back and watch our Alien and Aliens lead up, which we do for the Alien series, is I think, like, if I'm 24 right now and I step into the Alien franchise, I'm thinking, oh man, this is action. All these action films, I got to go back. But if you go back to Alien, it's a horror film. It's not an action film. And Aliens is a fantastic action movie, and it set the pace for the entire series. But Alien is a horror film, and it's a great horror film. And I think a lot of people forget that, because when they think of Sigourney Weaver and they think of Ripley, we just watched Alien. What is it? What was the last one called? Not Covenant. Oh no, not the show. The movie.
Romulus. Yeah.
Romulus. Alien Romulus. Rami, yeah. When you watch that, like they're doing all the famous lines from the second film. Like they're repeating lines from the second movie. They're not even referencing the first film. Alien is a horror film, and I think a lot of people forget that. So, yeah. So I'm actually, it's good to go back. You know, I had quotes, but they're just they like it. So I mean, there's really nothing really to say more about that. I'm interested to see how this series progresses, to see what you think of the other films that you had not seen yet. I thought that so, but like this is like when we do the lead ups, when we do the first film, it's a no brainer. Like we're just like, oh, it's great, yeah. So we really don't kind of get into the meat of it until we get into the sequels. Where
right, there's always a reason it is a lead up series, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting to get into Scream 2 with you and then just kind of like see where it went and when, you know, does it hold up and all that fun stuff. But yeah, is there anything that we haven't touched upon that you were kind of hoping to talk about?
The only thing I noticed in the film that really bugged me was the aspect ratio changes in some shots. And I can't tell if it's on purpose or not. I know one of them was one of the party scenes, one of the establishing shot of the party in the living room. The camera kind of pans and it's like a dolly shot. And it's like everybody's stretched out. And I think it happens once in the school and once while they're walking into the grocery store or they are in the grocery store. It just really bothered me and took me out of the film. I don't know if you noticed that or there was any note. I couldn't find any note that was like they did it on purpose to make you feel uneasy or whatever.
Well, are you talking about when it's supposed to be the camera that's on top of the TV?
No, not Gail's camera, because it happens a few times before that. And the shot in the party happens before Gail gets to the party, before Gail and Dewey enter the party. It's
shot 239, so it's meant to be anamorphic. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I'm wondering if the print you're watching on Paramount Plus, right?
Yeah, I watched it on Paramount Plus.
I'm wondering if they're messing with it, if they've adjusted it, because it's supposed to be 239, so you're supposed to have those big black bars there and whatnot.
Yeah, most of it looks good. It's just like I think it's 3 shots that just look like all stretched out, like they mess with the image, or it's just a weird aspect ratio for no reason.
No, I'd have to go back and check it out. But I never noticed it before. I just I just remembering all the conversations we've had with people at the theater about the black bars on the screen, like the IMAX. It's supposed to be like that. So yes, it's supposed to be like that. Having to explain that you're seeing more width than it's like. It's just,
I remember when the first big movie that came out. Jurassic Park had one VHS set, but when Phantom Menace came out, it was only the black bars. And I remember like Tommy Kays had the big posters like, this is how it's meant to be. Stop returning your video. Yeah.
Or like when like a Wes Anderson film came out and it's 4:3 or one of the 4:3 films, you're like, yes, why is there it's like a TV screen. Yes, that's on purpose. That's the movie. How about, now we're just off the rails, but how about, do you remember when we got Star Wars in 3D in 7 and people were coming out and we had that nerd come out and it was like, it's not in 3D. There's not in 3D. There's a section not in 3D. And I'm like, sir, it's in 3D. I'm telling you, I loaded the print. And then when we went in there after, this is when we discovered that when the cleaners were cleaning and they're blowing off the silver sheen on the screen.
The screen itself.
Was like when they're backing into it on the IMAX, when they're backing into it, the blowers, that it's ripping off the silver, and that's what's helping 3D. So in fact, he kind of was right. The movie wasn't 3D, but that little section wasn't. I was just like, oops. But that was we noticed. I go, oh shit, that's a 3D screen.
It's called the silver screen because it's not just a cloth screen. There's a coating on it that's you can easily mess with. That's why you don't go up and slap the screen.
Right. You would have to have somebody come in and clean the screen specifically. Yep. Speaking of that, I don't know if I ever told you this. My friend, back when we were at the Fourplex and we were watching a screening, my friend Kevin, we were watching a movie and he hated it. And we bring food and it's just us, and he hated it. So I can't remember the movie. I know Adrian probably remembers it, but I can't remember it. He had a huge container of onion dip. And he hucked it at the screen. He's like, "This movie stinks." He throws it at the screen. It hits the screen, and it was like, and it falls off. And like, the stain was there for months and a year. It was number 2. It was the big house in number 2. And I'd be like, there's a French onion dip stain, Kevin. And he's just like, I didn't know. Like, so like, we didn't realize this is when like we're in our 20s and it was there forever. And so if you've all been to the fourplex and you notice a big giant stain in number 2, that was my buddy, Kevin. Rest in peace, buddy. I love you. But yeah. Oh my God. Oh, the stories I could tell.
Awesome.
So anyways, back to Scream. Good film. Mike thinks it's good. I think it's great. Thank you for the lead up. We're going to go on to other stuff. Follow us along all the way to Scream 7. But as always, I always like to say to ask Mike or tell Mike, tell them where they can find us, Butler.
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or wherever you get your shows. We're on YouTube. We're on all the podcast audio platforms. We are on all the social media platforms. We have our main show every Wednesday where we talk about forgotten films. Certainly not films like Scream, but other films that maybe have fallen by the wayside, forgotten by audiences, whether because just time or another popular movie came out at the same time. That is every Wednesday, so check that out. We've got our lead up series. We have our now showing series. So obviously we're going to do Scream 7. We've done a whole bunch of other now showings in the past. Go check those out. If you're on Patreon, we have our look back. So we did the original Nightmare on Elm Street. We talked about that's impact on cinema as a whole. We've done quite a few look backs. I think that's our only like real horror film, unless you count Ghostbusters. That
we did the thing. We did the thing.
Oh, that's right. We did all the things. So check all those out. They're really fun. They're on Patreon if you want to support us. And check out our main show. Check out our special shows. We have a merch store. Just keep it here wherever you're watching us.
That's a yawn. Also, well, you talk about Patreon, Mike. We're going to be changing some tier stuff, right? But I don't know if you changed at this point, but eventually. So
no, I figure once we do our video on Friday, I'll change it as soon as we record our video.
No, well, people listen to this. Heads up for that. So, we're going to change some stuff up there.
We're going to make it more accessible.
Yeah. All right. So you can get some more of this. Yeah. So that's it. So thanks for watching. Be on the lookout for Scream 2 coming soon. And, have a great week. I'm Mike Field.
Oh, sorry. I'm Mike Field.
And that's Mike Butler. And I'm Mike Field. And this is Forgotten Cinema Lead Up. And we're out of here. Peace.